Hey guys, what's going on? So I have here my friend Patrick Lewis. He's here to tell us about how he approaches programming, what he thinks about the job, what he thinks about what he does for a living, about the code, what he's done before, how did he start, what did he face while he's on his career path. Is that right, Patrick? Is that what you're going to tell us?
Yeah,
All
so
right.
I'm Patrick, and we're gonna tackle this today. I hope I give some new insights into the topic of programming and what it means. So, we want to get into it?
Sure. Okay. So as a first question, I always believe that the way that you start dictates how it's gonna end up or how you're gonna gravitate towards what, and basically it just dictates where you're gonna end up. I think how you started. So let's just ask that, like, how did you get started with this?
Mhm. So, definitely, I agree that there's a sort of path. Some people believe in destiny. I can't really assess that it's something that's true, but I can try to rationalize it. Maybe it's a sort of historian fallacy, kind of trying to make sense of the past from the view of the current person you are.
Hmm.
So maybe I can trace it to when I was maybe 6 or 7. It's not really related to programming per se, but it has its root in it. It's the way of thinking, of tackling issues and problems. So when I was 6 or 7, we used to play video games a lot. So I used to go to my friend's house to play Nintendo 64s, and all the games were in English, obviously, because that's how it is. And we didn't speak English, so we didn't understand anything of the games, or basically we were lost. We were just playing to have fun. So we used to play in co-op mode, but we were patient, like trying to learn to have more fun. That's the idea. Trying to see how we can up the game, go and more levels. Trying to decipher English, which we didn't get. We don't understand English, but we tried to find a string of relations between the words.
Or the events,
To
at least, like if you crack any word, like that would be a
Yeah,
great hint. Like, oh, he means the door, and we've been spending an hour trying to figure out
exactly.
where the door is.
So it started with sort of trying to decipher what words means to have fun. So then, and I'm a kid of the 90s. So in the 90s, you didn't have so much internet. So we had sometimes with the internet and heard somebody that said, okay, there are cheat codes in this game. Oh, cool, cheat codes. What are those? So like, okay, let's search on the internet. What's the internet? Okay, we have 1 hour on the internet. Kids, you have 1 hour. So like searching on the internet, everything is in English. We note them down on some paper. And then my friend always put it on me to try to decipher it. Okay, how does it work? So I think it started from this kind of deciphering for fun. Then later on, to put like the cherry on top of the cake, my father got us a PS1 when it just got out,
Mm.
and he modded it. Okay, so it could play any game. So then he downloaded some Japanese games, like original Japanese games, and Japanese.
Oh,
So we're playing the games and Japanese, and like noting those weird characters to know what they mean. Look, this means yes, this means no. So it kind
wow,
of
it's very
put this
curious.
sort.
I would
Yeah,
never
yeah, it
do
kind
that.
of
I
put.
just play the game.
Yeah, but you're a kid. You're like this. Just the language itself, you don't know it's Japanese. You just
Yeah.
know it's something you don't understand. That might be Chinese. I have no clue.
Yeah.
It's this sort of instant feedback, of instant gratification, okay? And having the patience to actually just sit there and play the game, okay? Because otherwise you won't enjoy it. So I think it put the idea that if I put myself to it, I can actually do it, and it's a lot of fun.
Mm.
So I think it started from that. So later on in school, I was not really into computers or anything, but I did like making sense of things, getting the big picture, deciphering stuff. Uh, I was good in math, more or less, yeah. Uh, but then later on, I thought I would go into psychology or maybe agriculture or something like that. But then it turned out that I got into programming. and I see how it's applied, this way of thinking. And it's not only applied there, like if whatever I do, basically, I just see it as a game. So when I saw your video about the fear of programming, the idea of looking into the unknown and being
Scared.
intimidated maybe. For me, it's sort of the opposite. Like literally.
That's what
It's
they
this
all
fear.
say. Like
Yeah.
I can't wait to tackle it. No, I can wait. I'd rather not tackle this.
Yeah.
You know.
There's that fear, like the first step. Okay, I'm stepping into the unknown. I'm nothing facing this bottomless abyss. Okay, but it's usually when you get the negative feedback that you don't want to go. You feel you're gonna fail, basically. But when you feel the opposite, when you have this voice in your head, like you've done it before, whatever you set your mind to, you can do it. What are you missing? Time? It's gonna take what? Maybe a year. Even if it takes a year to understand one line of code, then in the end you're gonna get it. Okay. So
yeah, I think that's the time frame. It's an expectations game, I think, because the time frame that you expect. I hear this voice in my head that says, "No, you've taken too long. A guy like you should have understood it like an hour ago. It seems you're not fit for this role. It seems that you are maybe not meant to be a programmer, because the usual programmer, this is just a silly line. Why are you taking so long? You know?" And again. So it's, if you start out like that, your mind says, "Yeah, you're taking too long." Based on what? Based on what? I've never taken less than this. You've never put the effort so that it could start diminishing. You've never spent the 7 hours so that you could say, now we spent 6, now I get it in an hour. You never went the full way, to really suffer to understand something. You never did it. Because inside the suffering, you said, "Oh, you shouldn't suffer. Probably they all have it easy." If you're suffering, it means you're not meant to be doing this. It's such a stupid brain. Such a lazy brain.
I think it is brain related, and both ways. Like you can get the negative feedback and feel like, okay, this is not good for me. Like your brain keeps telling you, you're not good at this. Go do something else that gives you more pleasure. Because it's a oxytocin thing. It's a thing that gives you pleasure in the end. But from another perspective, your brain loves novelty. Like that's for sure.
Amen.
Your brain is only made to love novelty.
Yeah.
So for me, it's the feeling of, okay, everything is new again. I'm facing this abyss. Okay, I don't see the end, but I see the path, and the path is what's thrilling. So maybe it comes from this innate or archaic or psychological remnant, or I don't know, some sort of feedback mechanism in your brain that's like when you're on a roller coaster. Yeah, you get that feeling like you're going up. Yeah, this is the same feeling you get when you're like facing this. Oh, I didn't know that before.
I do not feel this way.
Yeah.
Listen, let me ask you one question. When do you consider something finished? Like if you're going on an experiment to, for example, you bought Mastering Regular Expressions. You bought this book, okay? Amazon, you call it up, the book's here, it's huge, it's 600 pages, smells amazing. When do you consider that you have grabbed the essence of this task, which is understanding regular expression? You bought the book, you want to understand. When do you consider that I got it? Or I went that path, now I know regular expressions?
Yeah, okay, I got you. So you're taking it from the approach of, this is a task, I need to finish it. I need to get to a certain point where I know it. And I feel like I have a need for closure. I have a need to close this page, finish with it, so I can get to something else.
Did I understand this section? Can I now call myself a guy who understands regular expressions or not?
Yeah. I think it's more of a subject-object thing. Like, who's the subject here? Who's the object? Who's facing the thing? How do you define it? Like, who's the subject? Who's the object? Like, who's defining what? Are you doing it for yourself, or are you doing it for the image you get of yourself?
The image.
So, yeah. So usually when you say I want to get to a goal and I want to finish it for a certain reason and be done with it, like, okay, why do you want to do it in the first place? Why do you want to get to the end? What's the end? Let's
You
say this
think
this is like a disease today. Like a lot of people face this sort of.
it
Maybe we
is?
can like just stop here. Like this is the second section. Like this is the subject of the disease of over productivity or maybe over rationality or over loving everything that's right and fixed and ordered and that has a certain meaning and well defined and don't want anything that's chaotic or that you just see the path but you don't see the end or something that's not explainable. It's the fear of this chaos. And I think it plays a lot in programming, especially when you see others. Because oh shit, I don't remember the name of the guy, and they said at a certain point technology looks like magic, but within a single field, be it medicine or programming or whatever, graphic design, you feel like some people at other levels in certain categories of or part of expertise that they have is way beyond something so it feels like magic, it feels like something unachievable, and you start to compare yourself and feel like you need to be more productive and quote, okay,
Yeah.
but that's like considering yourself a machine that has only goals and basically I've seen some like there are tons of YouTube video like okay how to be productive, how to get a diary and whatever and do this do that, but do they do it for comparison or do they do it to free up time so that they can have more time to do what they find fun? Because this is the idea of productive. It's to free up a lot of time so that you can have fun later on, play games or read books or whatever you want to do. But I think this is really a bad path that a lot of people are taking, especially with the addiction of technology today. I'm not sure if you're the kind of guy like who takes his phone every 5 seconds, or that feels like there's a phantom ringing, like you feel like your phone is vibrating.
No, no.
Meanwhile, it's the wind in the window.
No.
And there are people like that. Like they
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
the pressure to keep up with the social standard of they have to produce.
I have
There's a
it, but
push.
it's of another kind because obviously there is some standard. I think it's called unrelenting standards. It's a sickness of the conceptual thinking of a person. Like they hold themselves up to a standard that doesn't really exist. Like for me to be able to say I'm a respect, because people around you, like I faced this and nagged about this for years, and yet every bug that comes up brings up this topic. Like, am I supposed to be here? This should be solved in an easier time. Why am I? You are not doing this for fun, obviously, because people who do this for fun don't see the activity as something which has challenges in it. They don't see the activity as identified by the challenges. For me, like, programming is really negligible until you come up against a bug. That's what programming is. Trying to solve difficult things, not creating. I wouldn't say it's creating things. Yeah, sure, you're trying to create things, but good luck, because you're going to have a lot of problems. Other people, I think, see it as part of the journey, and at some point they face them so much that they end up, I don't think anybody gets rid of them ever. No, they just, how they feel while they're dealing with them is the issue. What I feel while I'm dealing with them is like, oh God, I'm never gonna get this finished. The first obstacle, even the first obstacle, like start reading a book, first introduction. Yeah, there's no code yet. Stumble upon code. Okay, things are getting complicated. Okay, this is not what I thought. And people around you say, no, you're pretty good, man. You're pretty good. Yeah, I don't see myself as pretty good because I don't care what you think. I care what I think of myself. You know, you have this inner
Mhm.
voice which is
There's always an
representing
upper
people.
standard. Yeah.
Yeah, that inner voice is the one that says, oh, you're not good enough. You should be better than this. You should learn that and do this. Yeah.
So there's certainly like this thing. Sometimes like because categories or domain of expertise in programming are really broad. So you have networking, operating system, compilers, and everything basically could be deep. But even in the smallest details, like let's say you know Java, but okay, there are frameworks in Java. Which frameworks do you know? Okay, let's say you know Java and this framework. Okay, but do you know everything there is to know about this framework? Even the guy who wrote it doesn't know everything about the framework.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's always this thing like there's a lack at any point. So if you're the kind of person that feels like I need to know everything, otherwise I'm useless and I can't tell other people that I'm the guy that knows this, then you're gonna have an issue at this point. So obviously there's the fact, like I faced it myself. Like, okay, you go to a programming interview, they're gonna ask you questions about specific stuff. If you said you know Java, for example, they're gonna ask you about a specific framework. Maybe you've never seen that framework, but they're gonna ask you, okay, do me this test, take it home, and do this using this framework because you said you know Java. And then you face it, okay, do I really know Java?
Yeah.
Okay, I can learn it. I have 2 days to reply to this dude. Okay, that's tough. So, and these cases, you can feel kind of down or compare yourself to other people that are more qualified in these specific topics.
I think
Yeah.
a general acceptance of the lacking of how much you're lacking in all other facets, because as a human being you look at yourself, you're pretty complete, you know. You lack nothing. You have strength, you have 2 arms, you have 2 legs, you can do anything you can imagine, really, just as good as any other person out there. But it's just this thing where you start to feel the incompetency, the lacking, the missing stuff. You're not so good after all, you know, because you're so used to having being complete and perfectly created, and there's everything is functional, nothing goes off of the system, your hand doesn't start going limp or anything. So you're used, yeah, I'm a perfect human being. Okay, apply yourself here, let's see. So maybe I'm not so perfect, maybe you're wrong. I went once to an interview about Android and something like that. The guy asked me if I know Java. Or no, he said, you have here your Java, you scored yourself a 9. I said, yeah. He said, okay, what is reflection? I said, I'm not sure. He said, okay, so 8. All right. What is some other thing he asked me? We got to a 6. I became a 6 at Java.
Right.
Obviously, yeah.
So you felt less confident.
Yeah, because you don't know reflection. Like, you gotta be honest with yourself. Like, how really good are you at things, you know? Okay, so let me ask you the natural questions, aside from philosophy and stuff like that. What do you do day in, day out? What's your programming language of choice? What are the tasks that you, what do you do as a programmer?
So there's a professional side and there's a fun side, or let's say hobby side. So professionally, I work at Invigo. It's a company that specializes in telecom. So we offer services for anything that's related to connecting or configuring devices. So the past 2 years, the biggest project we've been working on is something called eSIM. So it replaces the physical SIM card with a digital or informational SIM card. So now the SIM card is going to be embedded inside the device, and you're going to scan a QR code to download it. So it sounds like benign like this, unless you understand that the technology used for SIM card is the same technology used for credit card. So it implies the same level of security and knowledge and everything. So we went on this path. Okay, I was tasked with a co-worker. We're basically a team of 2 of research and development. The management said, okay, we got this new specification about eSIM. They're part of a specific group called SIM Alliance, so they got the specifications before anybody else. They said, okay, go study this, the feasibility, and if we can embark on this. So we're like, it's been 2 years already. So we started studying it. Okay, let's see the specs, some mini POC with some parts of the code. And you know, when it's something new, you cannot base yourself on anything that's written before. You just read the specs and make your mind about it. I don't know. Just try to understand them, to do a mind map, a big picture. So we took a big picture and we said, okay, we need at least 5 senior developer and I don't know what. And they were like, okay, just take your time. You get like any time you want and try to do a POC. Try to work on it. So we started doing like implementation of small parts of the specs of encryption because it's really low level. There's a lot of security stuff. Then we reach a point, okay, we want to test it after like I don't know how many months been working on it. Because we based our assumption on nothing real, nothing tangible. We cannot test it. We don't have an eSIM. So we wrote a whole lot of code. Then, okay, it's time to test it. What do we need to do to test it? We start to read the standards related to security accreditation. So we kind of start to understand, okay, we need to pass an accreditation to host this service. Okay, what does this accreditation implies? It implies adding CCTV to your office. It implies building a room in your office that has fingerprint and with specific computers that are locked there. It implies having your own data center with a cage there, 2 cage actually, one within the other, one with a server that has encryption keys, and a lot of stuff like that.
Wow.
Okay, so we built a sort of path for it. It changed the whole organizational chart of the company because we had to create roles in the company basically. Like we had like roles that didn't exist, like key managers. What's a key manager? They do a key ceremony. What's a key ceremony?
Ceremony?
Yeah, so basically key ceremony is what? So TLS encryption certificates. Yeah, so they're kind of in a sort of hierarchy. So it's based on levels of trust, basically. There are some people in the world, they have machines in their data center. That machine, we trust it's protected. And that the key to generate this certificate or private key there to sign other certificate is protected by many persons from many different companies, be it Oracle or whatever, DigiCert or whatever big companies. They split the keys between these people. It's not split like digital. They give them like really dongles and dongles with a key on it and plus a password or something. So when they do a key ceremony, like they call all those people, yeah, come here. We're gonna do a key ceremony to sign another, I don't know, sub certificate or something, so that we can generate money. And this whole thing, this is what the internet is built on. So for the eSIM thing, we had to do like they have their own X509 hierarchy, like they have their own route. So we had to be part of this route. So yeah, this is what we've been working on. There's a lot of crypto involved, a lot of new standards. It's exciting, especially when you see it live after like working on it for 2 years and you get a device, you can scan. All right, that's cool. And then you see that really, and these and technology in general, when you have standards, and you have how the standards are implemented. So you start from standards. Let's say, I don't know, the web, for example. And then everybody can build on the standard. You say it's open, everybody can download it, so there should be no issue, right? Unless the big guys start adding more stuff to the standards.
And I have to revision your own.
Which they propose because they already implemented them.
Oh, not like, what do you think we do? No, we already did this, now you have to follow.
Exactly, and they have voting rights and the standard committee to push their stuff forward, and then they build a sort of wall over time so that they can push other people out, and they have a sort of monopoly, but they can say, oh, but the standard is open, we didn't do anything.
So 2 questions actually.
Yeah, go on.
Sorry. The first question is that when they come together to sign something, it's just like the keys in a bank to a safety deposit where you have to have 2 keys and you open it together and never something like that.
So it's a whole ceremony, man. They have to stand in line to not see each other's password, and there's a key ceremony master. He doesn't wear a robe or anything.
Satanic
he
cult
supervises.
Okay.
Nah, but It's based on a credit card ceremony, key ceremony, because you have to create a credit card, and it's based on some. There's like a machine. It's called an HSM, hardware security module, and it signs stuff, but you have to unlock it to create a new key on it. And to unlock it, you have a key like separated between multiple persons. So this is what happens basically. You need to put them in line. Okay, put your key one after the other, so that we can initiate the procedure to create a new key.
Okay, another question is, walk me through this product. If I have a phone without a SIM, I launch it and I start up a browser and I go to the URL and I scan it and now I have a SIM?
Yeah, basically now there's the iPhone XS, the Pixel. Pixel has had it for a long time.
SIMless?
There's the Microsoft. Yeah, there's the Razr, Motorola Razr.
What if I do have a SIM? Where do I put it?
Actually, most of them now, other than the Motorola Razr, they come with both physical SIM and the SIM that is actually embedded in the device. So the procedure is kind of normal. You go to the settings, network connection, and there's supposed to be a button, add new network connection. You press it, and there's like the UI for scanning a QR code.
What, here with me, with a Pixel?
If you have a Pixel 3.
No, not 3, I have a 2, okay.
Yeah, too bad.
That would be, that would make sense. Actually, that would be the next
the Samsung
step
S20,
Go ahead.
So the Samsung S20 has it. Actually, like at work, like you're asking about the devices, the procedure. So our company has to buy those devices so that we can test on them. Because some of them, like they divert from the standard, so you have to get them. How are you gonna know what's the issue? Yeah, so it's live now. It's working on a lot of operators.
Under the.
So this is professionally.
This is professionally.
It's hosted in Lebanon.
Wow, that's pretty courageous.
We have a data center here. It's fucking epic. You go there, it's like a bunker.
Yeah, so okay, so that's professionally. All right. So, also, which language do you use at work?
Yeah, so
to do this.
When I got to Envigo, I started like directly after coming out of school. Like I was really friend with the dean of computer science. So we're kind of friends. Like we go on the hikes. So his friend is at Envigo. So we got there, and he said, "Yeah, that's the guy with the best grades in my university. So you want to take him? See?" So I did an internship there, and whatever. So they don't really care about the language; they care more about your way of thinking, problem-solving skills, etc. So as language per se, I use. So when they got me, like I was in the interview, they said, "Okay, what language do you want to use? C++ or Java for the interview?" I said, C++.
No.
So I did. I at the time I was really into C++. I did the interview in C++, nailed everything. There's the STL, standard template library. So if you want to use like an array, you could write it from scratch, or you can use the built-in stuff from C++. But I knew those, so it was kind of easy. So they saw I used C++, so they tasked me with, because there's a project there in C++. Nobody wants to do it.
I would imagine.
So okay, you're gonna do it. So yeah, so there's a bit of C++. There's a lot of Perl. Like they love Perl. There's Java and a bit of PHP for front end and
for this
stuff like this.
Solution. eSIM.
The solution I did the past few years, yeah, it's eSIM and some low-level stuff I can't talk about.
All right. Okay, what about a hobby, on the hobby side, like at home? What do you program?
Yeah.
What do you do?
Yeah, so maybe some people know because of the flickering or something else, but I manage a community called Nixers.net. It's a Unix enthusiast community and anything computer related. So we have an IRC channel, Internet Relay Chat. We chat a lot. We do some, we used to have a podcast. I left it because it takes a lot of work. We used to have a newsletter too. Initially it started like, okay, I'm gonna write it and everybody's gonna give me links. It ended up me doing it alone and then partnering with somebody else and whatever. Took a lot of time, so yeah. So I have other projects like Window Manager I wrote in C. It's called 2BWM. And for those who don't know what's a window manager, it's like the name says, it manages the windows. So basically, a window manager does two things. There's operation, like what you can do with a window, maximize them, close them, move them. And there's placement. So maybe the window manager takes your role and places the window for you, or maybe you place the window, or maybe there's a certain algorithm that places them in the Fibonacci layout. So there's these two operations basically. So 2BWM is a keyboard-driven window manager. So you do the operation on the window based on the keyboard. There's definitely the mouse too, but it's mainly keyboard-driven and low level and very fast. So
I like using Spectacle a lot. I'm considering it as a window manager basically. It's a series of shortcuts that you can use on your windows, but it's basically the window manager because I saw some other one a while ago. I think I'm not sure of the name, but it was branded like it's something new or anything. It had all the shortcuts that were there in Spectacle. Like I just uninstalled it. Spectacle is really nice, but what other thing do you need in Mac? It's not gonna remove the heaviness of a desktop environment like it does on Linux. The Mac is gonna be a Mac. Your best bet is to be able to arrange them in a fast manner, but to remove the performance issues of a whole desktop environment, that's not going away with a Mac. In Linux, yeah, you could just replace it and now you're much lighter. But in Mac, it doesn't exist.
So on this topic, so I do dive a lot into topics like that related to Unix or whatever, window management or computer in general. So I used to have a podcast. And write articles about the topic. So I like to take the, what do you say, the eagle eye or bird view over the topic. So let's say window management. People usually take it as either it's styling or it's stacking. Either the window manager places the window for you and it's keyboard driven. They associate the two together somehow. Or it's floating, or you call them stacking. Window can be superposed. And you have to place them yourself. They associate those two together. But when you dissect or split the topic, you can take another point of view. Like I said previously, like you have either operation or layout, but you can also have a lot of things like how do you represent the borders? How do you send a message to your user that this is how it is supposed to be? Who is your user? Are they advanced user or are they beginners? If they're beginners, does your environment has a good human-computer interaction? Is it human? Is it directly understandable? So I like to take like these kinds of approach, like maybe it's too philosophical or but I feel this is needed sometimes because you need to take a distance on the topic to perceive it better. Like recently I wrote an article about time. Literally, the title is Time on Unix. That's it. Like I said, okay, let's just like this is something I know there's a lot of things related to it.
Are these all posted on Nixers?
Yeah, some of them on Nixers, a lot of them on my blog, mostly because recently I've left podcast and newsletter. So some stuff, if I want to have a discussion, I post them on Nixers on the it's a forums, and others like if I just want to have something well ordered, not a brainstorming session. Basically, I write a post, an article on my blog. Like right now, I'm preparing something. Maybe I'll talk a bit about that.
How long does it take you to prepare an article, and how long is it usually? How big?
Depends really. Basically, like I have this idea. It's coming back to the topic of you see the abyss or the chaos, and you want to make sense of it, and you see the path, you don't see the end. Sometimes I write an article, I feel like it's not done, but I feel like it gives an aperçu, tiny bits, or it opens your appetite to the subject. So I said, okay, maybe that's enough. Like I won't write something that has been written about before. Like that's my thing. I only write about something like I'm curious about. Okay, what's this? Okay, what? This works? Okay. Or mainly, I write about things that are somehow not always combined together. Like, let's say there's a technology. Recently, I wrote about dbus and polkit. So those are technology for, it's a message bus, basically. Maybe some people in computer and software architecture
Event
will know
bus.
what's a message bus. It's like an event bus, a message bus. Yeah, it's similar. It's like RabbitMQ.
Okay.
It's some sort similar technology, but it's used on the desktop. So a lot of people have no clue what it is, but lots of people hate it for some reason. They don't know what it is, but they hate it. Because why? Because there's a sort of echo on the internet that it's supposed to be hated.
Wow.
Okay, let's. So that's okay. I don't like it myself. Why? Why do I not like it? I don't know what it is. Why would I not like it?
With Linux, I learned that the hard way. Like you can't really with Linux, if you're willing to learn Linux and just go the long way with it, or at least like be able to say that you can use it efficiently, you have to drop these like I know this, I know that. Yeah, in reality, you don't know much. When you go into it, you
Exactly.
realize you don't know. With Linux, there's a lot of that stuff, you know.
So it turned out like really, I used to hate it, but when you get to know it, you feel like it's underused or used badly. And these are the reasons why it's hated, not for the technology itself. So if you want a summary of this article about polkit and these things, dbus. So it's a message bus such that such that software can attach to the bus and provide a certain service or feature. Let's say you're the file manager. You say to the bus, I'm the file manager. Whatever abstract concept of file manager there is, like open a file or something, send it to the bus, and I'm going to handle it because I implement it. This is the whole idea.
We use this actually with Android as an architecture. We just emit commands, and there's a handler somewhere that says I'm concerned with these types of commands, nothing else. And there's this other guy that handles the other commands.
And anybody could implement this interface or whatever.
So also, I actually share a Slack channel with you. So you often share what you call Ascii art. It's basically drawings that you have written in computer characters, in actual characters, like a star and parentheses. And it's just a combination of all these things to make up a picture, as we see here on the screen. Why would you do something like? Why would you do something like this? I really never got that. They look nice, but I mean, what's wrong with Rembrandt or Picasso or something? Why not real paintings?
So yeah, okay. So why would I do Ascii art? Why would I choose this medium instead of paint or I don't know, oil painting?
Wait,
or
you draw them
art?
or you look at them and appreciate them?
Ascii art. So Ascii art, I'm an Ascii artist. I'm probably one of the few left in the world.
Okay.
So I did participate in many competitions in Germany and the US. I did come pretty close to basically what's Ascii art. It comes from those keygen when you used to have a shareware or share software that's not supposed to be shared and stuff.
Yeah.
This type of community. So they started doing Ascii art in the BBS world. So how did I get into it, you're going to ask? So I have a friend who did Ascii art before me. And I encountered it a long while ago. I was just interested in the robots, basically. Oh, you can draw robots with the characters on it. It's pretty cool. So I said, okay. Then I left it for a couple of years. Then I saw my friend doing it, and he said, I'm part of a group. It's pretty cool. Then I opened a brainstorming session on Unix. So let's talk about Ascii art. This is the true Unix kind of art. Like I said it like that. Like it's the Unix art, just to attract the attention. So I gather a lot of, there's textfile.com, I think. It has a bunch of text files with old school tutorials about these types of things. Started reading all of them and summarizing them on the forums, and I said, okay, why not try it? There's two techniques mainly. Either you do lines, the contour of the thing, or you do the contrast, the filling, the depth. So a lot of software that automatically generate Ascii art, they do the depth based on the character. Like some character are bolder than other characters, so they place them at at the darkest place in the image. So I started drawing randomly, like mainly robots in the beginning. I drew a robot on a paper, and then I said, okay, can I draw it also with only ASCII characters? And then I started participating in the group. So they do packs, they call them. Every now and then they release a pack. So a pack, it's like a series of everyone in the group sharing the ASCII art, as if it was old school. It's not really old school, it's a bunch of new kids. But it's like reviving the cyberpunk spirit. So it's really cool. Like I've been to demo scene, they call them demo scene competition. So demo scene, it's a demonstration of what you can do with a computer, whatever it is. Be it video, like in a 500 kilobyte, can you do this? Be it like on a small watch, can you show a video? These kind of
Oh,
show
like
off
running
computing power.
running Doom on your,
Yeah,
like running
yeah,
Skyrim on your
exactly.
keyboard on a refrigerator or something like that. That's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, this is the demo scene. Yeah, there are a bunch of websites for demo scenes, and they do competitions for certain category, be it digital art or videos or audio or whatnot. So I've been part of this community since 2016. So we've been releasing a lot of packs there online. It's pretty cool, especially like I'm part of the few people that still do that. And the reason why I love it, so the way I see it, with digital stuff, you're limited. And I see that within this limitation, you can find inspiration. It's basically like a puzzle. Okay, you have this image. You go back, you take some distance from the screen, you squint your eyes, you say, okay, is it really good? Does it have the shape I want? Is it the style I want to represent? Because really, with time and ASCII art, it's like painting. Anybody who sees it is gonna know that that's you who did it because that's your style. So yeah, it's like a puzzle trying to find the beauty within the limitation of the medium that you're supposed to use. And recently, yeah, it's come back into it's popular again. I don't know if you've heard of Tilted.town. So it's like a mini community where people
I have.
maybe with the nostalgia of the past, they want to recreate those small community where you log into a single shared machine and everybody has a folder and do stuff there.
It's
Yeah.
just like the old machines where they had time sharing and stuff. They were all Unix, though.
Really
Unix
cool.
invented time sharing, isn't it?
Yeah, it did.
Okay. So, okay, last question. There's something that I've been pondering about. So you read technical books, don't you? Okay. So they involve a lot of programming inside them sometimes, yeah? For example, like any book, like Clean Code, whatever. It has samples of code inside, so you can learn from those samples, yeah? Okay. So how do you approach reading such a book and getting the most benefit out of it? What do you do?
All
You
right.
read. The text is fine, but when you get to code, what do you type it? How do you, you know?
Okay, yeah, I got the question. Like you have technical books. How do you read them? How do you go about learning from them? So I was lucky before the whole like cataclysmic situation happened. I put $600 down to buy technical books. I was like, I knew it was gonna happen. Let's buy books. So I bought $600 of technical books, like the biggest books you can find.
Okay.
So I said, okay, let's take a book for every layer of the computer. Okay, this is the hardware layer, computer architecture. I know nothing about hardware. And I said, okay, that's about the low level stuff. I know nothing about compilers either. Let's get the Dragon book, like the Dragon book, the big Dragon book. It's just so heavy when you're reading it, it hurts you.
I can imagine.
And I got yeah, software architecture. I've been into it for a while, so I got quite a lot of book. Maybe it's not worth showing.
Okay.
And right now I'm into, obviously, the next layer, operating systems.
Uh-huh.
Then I'm gonna go into like algorithm. This one I didn't read yet. So yeah, this is the idea. So how do I approach reading them? So I take notes. I didn't used to take notes, but now I'm taking notes. And Enki.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a card memorization software. So I take pictures or ideas that I want to remember.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I just write summaries because it's not well explained in the book, or it's explained in such terms that are so heavy, you're not going to get them again. You're not going to understand them if you write them down, especially the compiler book.
But so Anki,
Like
if you press space, it shows you, if it shows you a card and you press space, it shows you the answer. What are you doing in that phase before you press space? Are you trying to guess what this means, or
Good question.
you know?
Yeah,
What
I'm
do you place
trying to
on
bring
back? What do you
back
place on the front?
So not use it for memorization per se, but just for remembering the main idea. So let's say I put on the title or the front, if you want to call it, I put like just I would put the title of a segment, and then I rotate it and I read it again like it's a big. I put a lot of content on the back.
Okay.
So I read it like, okay, it's a mini article for the day to remember this thing. Yeah, that's what I do. With the computer book, especially, I didn't do Enki because the definition accumulates and it gets heavy over time. So if you read the beginning of the book, you're like, yeah, it's easy. Why do people call it the Dragon book? But then you get further down, further inside the book, and you're like, okay, maybe I missed a definition there. What does this mean? You go back, you read it, you note it. Okay, this explains the other part down below. Yeah, this is how I tackle book, but mostly like I read a bit every day. It's not really for memorizing, it's more for understanding, having fun with it.
What about a book like Clean Code? Say you read how best to partition a class, where to put the classes, how to split it up. You go and try it. You go and what do you do in this case?
Yeah, I do. Actually, yeah. When I stopped doing the newsletter, I had in mind to focus on software architecture. So I took all the content I could find on software architecture, like Clean Code or Clean Coder. There's a bunch of code thing by the same guy. Forgot his name.
Code Complete, Clean Code, Clean Coder.
Yeah, there's 3 books. Yeah, I got 2 of them. So yeah, there's like I take notes, and then I was testing like if I can apply it. Or at least like at work have a discussion about this topic. Maybe it could bring some insights into finding solutions. Sometimes like you're surprised, like you think it's a good idea, it's not. Maybe it's good on paper, it's not in real life. And recently I've been following like there's a webinar every month, last Friday of the month with Mark Richard. It's about software architecture. It's really fun. Like they do a Q&A and they talk. It's not recorded. It's just like you have to register.
What about algorithms? When you go into that, do you plan on how would you apply? Like I've taken so many attempts at learning algorithms. I think I've got some degree to it, but that's the one that you have to like always practice. It's like exercising. That's the one
Depends how you
I
see
hate.
it. Like if you want your algorithm to be like learning to use a scalpel, but I don't see it like that. I see it like okay, there's a game, there's a trick to it.
Yeah.
It's like in the compiler book. Okay, there's a technique to create a parse tree. Okay. Before that, people didn't know this technique. When they were parsing it manually and having a lot of of difficulty trying to do it. And then some guy, he found this technique, and then, oh, well, we found this technique. It's good. Let's use it. I see algorithms the same way. Like
it is.
It's like a recipe book, basically. You can open it anytime. You don't have to memorize them. There's a section, okay, you need a hash. What are the ways to create a hash? Oh, you want an algorithm to so that there's no collision. Okay, what's the best way? What did people do before? What's their best recipe to do that?
I like your modest approach to topics. You don't blame yourself for not knowing something, basically, because you understand the time it takes to know something. You're not the guy to blame.
You know about hash especially, like we have this C++ project at work where we do some statistics, and it uses a memory mapped file, and the guy that did it, he doesn't live in Lebanon. He lives in somewhere else, and he writes it, and he's like super focused. He wrote it, I don't know how long ago. And I said, I'm going to dive into it, see if the hash algorithm is good. So I saw that it's like, okay, I have this limited file. He picks a place based on the modulo of the position of the size, okay? And if it's picked, he just moves randomly forward, or a specific size forward. I'm like, that sounds stupid. Yeah, that sounds stupid. Okay, there would be a lot of collisions with time. Why not use a linked list in the middle, like we learned in the university? Then I opened this algorithm book because I just got it on the same day. I was coincidentally on the same day. Then I read, I'm like, wait, that's the same algorithm. It's actually not stupid. It gets slower over time, but it's super efficient. So you're like, okay, you should not assume you know the thing, even if it looks stupid. Sometimes, like, it's a recipe, really, algorithm. That's what I mean. Like, some people have weird recipe. Why would you mix sugar with salt? That sounds stupid. But no, it's actually...
depends on what you need, really,
yeah. Yeah, exactly.
All right. So this has been really eye-opening, honestly. And we should have done this before. We'll do this again, I'm sure. I hope everybody enjoyed and got something out of it. I know I did. See you in the next one. Thank you so much for your time, Patrick, really.
You're welcome.
Thanks a lot.
We'll do that again sometime.
We will. Okay. Goodbye.